Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Job Breakdown. Today we're taking a look at Bard. Bard is the second of the two current ranged DPS in the game, although Dancer will be joining the ranks soon. And whereas Machinist, I think, has a lot of problems with its kit, I think the Bard does not. Bard focuses on being able to get procs and being able to put out quite a bit of damage while doing them. It focuses on support, with being able to sing songs to back up its team. And I really just kind of want to dive into what that means for Bard, because the main way that you do this is by starting up a song and then hitting them with your dots to be able to build up your procs for them. And we'll hit them on Wonders Minuet here, we'll pop a foes, and then we'll go ahead and use a battle voice. And what you'll see now is as our procs happen, we can get Refulsion Arrow, which is insanely cool. It does quite a bit of damage as well. And we can get Pitch Perfects, which are great as well. You have this situation where Bard is constantly doing damage, getting procs, getting cool stuff, without having any real downtime, because between its three songs, it is able to get one back up almost as soon as the other ends. And so you're able to just keep this rotation of songs going. And each song has its own effect. Each song has its own use and purpose. You want to keep your dots up at all times. But where Bard really shines is in the raw amount of damage it can do while getting these procs and while supporting the rest of the team. Whereas Machinist had a lot of issues with a 10-second period where it was able to do its most damage, Bard technically has more time on a longer cooldown. Instead of 10 seconds every 60 seconds. The most damage that Bard will be able to do would be on a 30-second time period for roughly every 80 seconds. And that's where you pop a Wanderer's Minuet, hit them with a Foe's Wreck to be able to reduce their defense. You probably do that before pop Foe's Wreck. And then you want to make sure you have your dots up. And then during this time period, you can get procs for Pitch Perfect, which obviously does quite a bit of damage. You can hit a barrage and then hit them with that Pitch Perfect, and as you can see, you're doing a solid amount of damage. Still throwing them out there, still getting them, relying on the straighter shot to be able to get your extra damage in there and just continuing up this period of damage. Bard has great AoE between Quick Knock and your amazing little barrage that you'll be able to do in a few seconds. You can also get those back even faster if your procs from your dots decide to kick in. For your Arrowfall, I think it's Rain of Death, yeah, and Bloodletter. So the whole job just synergizes perfectly with itself, where you're always doing things that make it where you can do more things. You want to always have a song up between your three. As soon as your MP comes back, you want to be doing Foe's Wreck. You have a ton of support abilities that we'll get into in just a minute. But as you can see, Bard is all about keeping up this constant rhythm of damage. You can move freely while doing it now as compared to in Heavensward when you had to stand still. You want to just be constantly putting out as much damage as you can. Now the songs each have extra benefits as well. So Wanderer's Minuet increases the crit rate for like all party members around you by 2%, which may not seem like much, but when you pair that with like a Dragoon, you're already getting a lot more damage out of it. Then you have Army's Payon, which allows you to increase crit rate again for everybody by 2%, but also does a unaspected potency of 100 when you use it. And Mage's Ballad is exactly the same way, which is really cool. You have the ability while Wanderers is up, of course, to fill these little notches here with Pitch Perfect. Army's Payon allows you to get some extra weapon skill damage, or speed, that is, if these begin to fill up. So you're able to move a little bit faster. It's really nice. And then you have things like Troubadour, which allow you to add an extra effect to all your songs. Mage's Ballad increases HP by 15%. Army's Payon reduces physical vulnerability by 10%, and Wanderer's Minuet reduces magical vulnerability. So you want to pair these with what type of party you have, with what you're going into the dungeon or raid with. And when it comes to raids, bards are so handy in a raid, because along with all that's already said, you also have Nature's Mine, which increases HP recovery for the entire party for by 20% for 15 seconds, which is crazy to me. Foe's Wreck, which reduces or increases the amount of damage that every enemy takes in the area by 3% as long as you have MP, which can be stacked on top of things like Refresh to be able to give you more MP faster. It's insane to me, the synergy that Bard has. Not only that, though, you also have things like Wanderer's Paean, which is basically an Esuna for a single ability that's been put on somebody. You still have Refresh and Tactician, TP and MP from Machinist that it has as well. Still have Palisade, still have Second Wind and Invigorate. Battle Voice, which increases direct hit rate of all party members while you're singing. Bard is an insanely powerful job that has a ton of options for your party, and is basically like a toolbox. Anytime Bard goes somewhere, Bard has everything it needs to be able to shine. And that's where I really want to see Machinist get to, where either give it the toolbox as well, like Bard has, or make it do more damage, as we talked about in the Machinist video. You also have the ability to jump back like that. It is crazy to me what all Bard brings to the table. And I can't help but feel like it's the better of the two. It easily is the better of the two, in my opinion. With the raid utility, with the solo damage that it has, and granted, its damage is not the best. On its own, it does not do the best damage that it could do, but when you pair it with a good party, especially if a Dragoon is around for piercing and for battle litany, Bard is just insane. What it is able to bring to the table is crazy. I think that this isn't really a thing that we normally talk about, but I think it has a really cool quest line as well. It gives you a good idea of what things have been like for Gridania. And I think that, you know, more job quests could serve to do that. I think most of the job quests in this game are really good, but I think the Bard one's really fun. There's not really much more I can say about how good Bard is. You really just want to be focusing on keeping your dots up. You want to be, see, right there, I dropped Caustic but kept Stormbite up. Which is a problem. You want to be using Iron Jaws to be able to keep them both up. You want to be making sure you're hitting with your Imperials, Bloodletters, using your cooldowns, hitting with that most powerful Pitch Perfect, getting a Refulgent in there, keeping a song up. I know it seems like a lot. It's really not that much as you go, though. I wasted a Pitch Perfect there. Because you kind of just get into the rhythm of, okay, this song's done, time to use the next song. And then just depending on which fight you have, whether or not you're going to use Troubadour. With all that said, though, I've been Trey. This has been the Full Spectrum. And remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that the Bard has to offer.